Welcome to our love story. What is love? Love reveals all things, believes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. LOVE. Well, welcome to our love story. This is a video of Cindy and Dee. Our wedding pictures and anniversary is right around the corner, so I decided to share with you guys my wedding album just to show you some of the things that we chose for our wedding day, and in hopes that this may help some of you that are looking to plan a wedding within this year or within the next year. I'm going to give you 10 tips on how to plan a perfect wedding, but to keep things in budget and to keep you from losing your mind. Tip number 1, have your wedding in a place or space that you can not only have the wedding but the reception as well. This will keep your guests from having to travel from one place to another. This will also cut costs of you having to pay for 2 additional wedding venues, and it will cut down all the prices as far as the catering. If the place allows in-house food, that would be included in your budget for renting the space, and or if the place allows for you to bring food from the outside. Tip number 2 is your wedding cake. Make sure that your wedding cake is something that you both will enjoy and love, and that is pleasing to the both of you and not so much as for your guests. The wedding cake needs to be good, of course, but the price of the wedding cake is from $500 and up. So when choosing a wedding cake, just make sure that it is something that you both will enjoy. As far as the wedding gown, I got my gown from David's Bridal. I chose a gown that was not that expensive. My gown was $600. I knew that this was a one-time deal. I would never wear this dress again, so I didn't want to break the bank by choosing a gown that were very expensive that I would never wear again. Also, you can also go to different stores that may have gowns that have been worn before, and you can get those at about $200, maybe $300 or less, depending on where these places, what they retail for in these secondhand shops. Also, choose, if you don't want a wedding coordinator or to spend the extra money on wedding coordinators, you can plan your wedding on your own. You just have to make sure that you use different websites like Tie the Knot and things like that. You can Google them. They have a list of wedding websites that can help you get your wedding together. As far as invitations, I printed out my own invitations in envelopes. I also printed out my menu that I put on the tables to let people know what the menu would be to be served. I also hired the guys that did my balloon decor, and they also did my music for the wedding, as well as they helped dress the tables. So all of this helped me to keep a budget. My budget was $10,000, but I ended up spending a little bit more than that. But by doing some of these things for yourself, you can kind of help yourself stay in budget. Also, I also helped some of my girls, my bridesmaids, purchase their gowns or their dresses, my sister's dresses and their shoes. I made sure that I purchased all the shoes for the girls, as well as some of the jewelry. Now, this is something that you don't have to do. I broke the bank a little bit by doing that, but I wanted to make sure that all my girls had the same exact color scheme, same exact dresses. They had the A-line skirts with all of them had different tops to their dresses. Also, I made sure that my wedding was RSVP, which means that I had a handle on how many people that was going to be there, as well as the food and the price of the food. Since it was, I think the plates were $20 per person, I had a guest of 100 people, so that was $2,000 that I had to pay for the food at my wedding. And since I had my wedding and my reception all in the same place, the decorations for the reception area, once everybody left out for the wedding, they went out into the open area, lounge area, and I had a table full of fruit, wine, tea, punch, and different little hors d'oeuvres where they can stand there and eat and talk amongst themselves, while the guys took all the chairs and things for the wedding out and rearranged the room for the reception. So what they did was took all the chairs out, for the wedding. They rearranged the balloons and things like that, and they brought the tables in, dressed the tables, set the tables up for everybody to eat, as well as the food. So by having a lounge area, this allowed the guests to walk into a different space, make themselves comfortable for 30 minutes or so, no more than an hour, while they rearranged the room for them to come back, enter into, and to have a great time. Now, while they were doing that, the wedding party was capturing pictures and taking pictures while everyone was out in the lounge area and while they were resetting or restaging the room for the reception. And I thought this was an excellent idea because it allowed us to do three things at one time. It allowed us to entertain our guests so that they won't have to travel from one place to the other. They can, once they got to the venue, they were already there. Two, it allowed the photographer to go ahead and get pictures of the entire wedding party while we were all together, because once everybody starts scattering, it's hard for the photographer to get people back together again. So once I had my wedding party in place, I wanted to make sure that the photographer got all of our pictures together separately, with the bride, with the groom as a group. And then thirdly, it allowed the staff to arrange the tables, set the tables up, bring the cake in, set the cake table up, as well as set the bar up. And then it also allowed for them to set the tables for the RSVP guests. So all of this played a very important part in where we decided to have our wedding. The venue is very important. Make sure you choose a venue that is multifunctional. And as far as the girls' dress, the men, let's talk about the men attire. I chose one place for the men to go get their suits, and this was the only place that they were able to go purchase or rent their tuxedos from. And so that cut down on, the questions and, people not having the same suit or different colors of suit. There was only one place that I wanted the men to get their suits and their tux from. And everybody abided by that. And so we had no problems with the men's wear. Also, the music. I chose all the music, and I gave them a list of songs to play for the girls to walk in, for the whole bridal party, our dance, the father dance, and the groom and mother dance, and then the bride and groom dance. So all of that was not a problem at all. I also gave them a list of all the music that I would like to hear at the party during the reception hour. So these are just a few tips for you guys to take if you're trying to plan your wedding alone by yourself, as I did. Now, I did have a wedding coordinator But for the most part, I did most of the planning. She was just there to help me to make sure that everything went according to plan. I also use Office Depot. Make sure that you use some of the places, Office Depot and places like that, to print out some of your items that you might want. You know, you can use them for invitation printing as well. But since I was good at that, I printed my own invitations along with my envelopes, and I mailed them out to everyone in the wedding party to RSVP and send back to me. But I did use Office Depot to print out my menus and some items that I was going to put on the table just to make the table look more staged. Also, I used an online website where I bought some party favors that had our name and our dates on there, and I gave those away as party favors, and they're all over the place. I can't remember exactly the name of this website. I'll try to get that to you if you need, or if anybody have a question about what I use, then you can ask me and I'll make sure that I notate it in some of the messages. But there, you just Google party favors and there's a ton of places that you can order napkins and party favors and things like that you can give to your guests. And so we also included the bouquets. The bouquets we didn't use real flowers for the girls at first, but it was such a disaster. It turned out to be such a disaster that I hired these guys to do my bouquet, and when I tell you they came through like a charm, these were real flowers and they were absolutely beautiful when it was all said and done. And so I saved a ton of money on that. There are tutorials on how to make bridal bouquets and things like that. If you're interested, you can just toggle to YouTube or whatever and do bridal bouquets. There are tons of videos that will show you how to put together bridal bouquets if that is something that you're willing to do on your own. There are also people that will help you, florists and things like that, that will help you put together your own bridal bouquet for a small fee. I would suggest that as well, because flowers can be very, very expensive. But you can also go to places like Michael's and Hobby Lobby's and get the faux flowers and put together some bouquets and things if you are very artistic. If not, you would want to reach out to someone that will help you with those. I chose a menu that was very basic as far as food. I didn't want the basic, African American menu, chicken wings, collard greens, mac and cheese, things like that. I didn't want that for my wedding, so I chose a Mediterranean menu, which had, a lot of the pastas and things like that, breads, pastas. I believe I had ham and roast beef and things like that on my wedding menu. It wasn't the basic, some people was asking at the wedding, where's the collard greens? Where's the chicken and stuff like that? I was trying to step out of my comfort zone. Although this was a black wedding, I didn't want it to feel as a black wedding. So I chose a Mediterranean theme menu with a little extra added to it. So you choose what you would like, but I suggest doing something out of the box, because for some reason people always expect certain things at certain weddings, and we want to break that as a tradition. So here's some of the tables here. You will see some of the food, and here's me and my mom. We're looking lovely. Here's my brother-in-law and my niece and my sister-in-law. And I just wanted to share some of this with you guys and give you a few tips on how I decided to put together my wedding, on a budget of $10,000. And I didn't want to go over that budget. I ended up going over it, but I really didn't want to go over. Weddings are very expensive. They're very costly. And when you are purchasing things, it costs a lot. These guys, I think I paid them about $5,000 or so to get everything together. And then I paid the venue, the wedding venue, I paid them $5,000 and some change for the food and for the wedding venue. So that was $10,000 already. And then when you add in the cost of my dress, the girls' dresses and shoes and jewelry, and you know, it all came up to about 12 to 13,000, including the cakes and things like that, and the bar. I had to pay. I had an open bar for my guests, and they were able to go and just, you know, choose their drinks and drink. So that is also a good idea. And then the fruit trays and the wine and the tea and things that I had for the break inside of the lounge area where we were changing the rooms in and out from wedding to reception. That food was also an extra price. But you guys, I enjoyed it all as well. You know, this marriage, we're 16 years in now. We've been together all of 34 years since we were in high school. And a wedding is what you make of it. It's not about how big the wedding is. It's not about how big the rings are. It's about what you two bring to the table and what you are expecting out of each other. So I just wanted to you know, share that with you. It is our anniversary, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and these few tips. I want to say thank you for watching and thank you for supporting us. So this is your girl Cindy signing out. I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.